Please don't kill me! These are my opinions. I love this game. I definitely think it holds up real well to the original. However, there are a lot of problems with the game that I have to address. Some you will find obvious, and some will make you tilt your head and go, really? With that being said, let's go back to the late 1990s and take a look at Crash Bandicoot, the Sane Trilogy, remastered from the ground up on the PS4.
I'm back! Crash is back, folks.
And the crowd goes wild. It's Crash. He's back. Okay, remember what the Stimpyland said in his Crash Nitro Kart video?
Dear Vicarious Visions, please stop trying to be Naughty Dog, and not because some incredibly attractive internet reviewer told you to do so, but because you guys fucking suck at it.
Well, Vicarious Visions have read that letter, and responded positively. When this was announced at E3 2016, I jumped up and down as many times as I could. After that, I went back and beat Crash 2 100% twice, because I love it. It's my favorite out of the trilogy. I won't get to that now, later when we talk about Crash 2. For now, we're going to talk about the game that started it all, Crash Bandicoot. Now, if you are new to Crash Bandicoot, I will cover the story. You know what? For old time's sake, let's do this. Oh yeah. Let's start with the story. So the story is that Dr. Neo Cortex... Don't worry, I won't go that far. Dr. Neo Cortex is a mad scientist who wants to mutate a herd of various marsupial animals, including our hero, to do his dirty deeds. If you really want to get a better explanation, just watch this Crash Bandicoot cartoon. I won't show the whole thing, but here's a sample. Cortex is alone in this plot. He is accompanied by his trusty colleague, Dr.
Nitrous Brio!
They put Crash in the vortex, and had very questionable and undetermined results. Crash eventually escaped thanks to the machine malfunctioning. And yes, he still says uh-oh. And also yes, Jess Harnell comes back to voice Crash. In fact, all voices, with the exception of Engine and Entropy, come back from the Titans games, and they sound so much better. Lex Lyon is still Cortex, Maurice LaMarche, aka Brain, comes back to voice Brio, Debbie Derryberry is back for Coco, and everybody's favorite Grim Reaper, Greg Eagles, returns in the third game to voice Aku Aku. I'll go into further detail then why I actually like Greg Eagles' new approach to this voice, compared to the Titans games where he literally just put Grim's voice on Aku Aku. Oh, and two other voices come back as well. John DiMaggio is back to voice Uka Uka and Tiny. You may remember his role for Tiny in Crash Nitro Kart. Well, it's back and it's the same as ever. The other returning actor is Corey Burton. He reprises his roles for Engine and Entropy, Wrath of Cortex being his previous appearance. This time around, everybody sounds great. Uka Uka definitely improved. Although, I actually miss Michael Ensing. His Entropy was more intimidating. I'd even go as far as saying that Corey Burton does better with Engine than he does with Entropy. At least we don't have a blue Nolan North engine again. That shit was annoying, especially in tag team racing.
Yes! Meet your doom, fool! Oh, the happy joy! Oh, such a tragedy!
Now, I want to stress this right now. I am judging these games by how they look now, not nostalgia. And no, I will not say this game is the new Dark Souls, because clearly whoever said that never touched a controller in their pathetic lives. Moving on, when Crash escapes, we see Tawna fighting a few baddies off, but then it goes to black. So, what happens? Well, you do see her in the bonus rounds. Still. However, Cortex realizes this and takes her when you finish the bonus rounds. Here's one of many examples why Vicarious Visions paid so much attention to detail. Anyways, we get put right into Insanity Beach, the very first level, and holy shit, this game looks fucking gorgeous. When I saw trailers for this game, I was seriously impressed. I thought Activision made the smart decision for once and picked the right developers for this game. Now, I'll admit, when I first heard about this game being put into the same hands that made the Crash GBA games and Nitro Kart, I was skeptical. Well, yet again, I've been proven wrong. They went all out with the graphics, and they look fucking beautiful. This is only the first level, and goddamn, it looks insane. Don't worry, I'm not going to use that joke anymore. Anyway, here's something else I wanted to point out. Remember the original where you couldn't die at all in a level in order to get a gem and save the game? Well, in normal levels, you can die all you want, and you can save whenever you want by clicking L2 at the map screen, making Sunset Vista 10 times easier than the original. The original formula is reused in the levels where you get a colored gem. The colored gems are located in the Lost City, Generator Room, Toxic Waste, Slippery Climb, Lights Out, and the Lab. After a couple attempts, I was able to get this no problem. That is, of course, until I got to Slippery Climb. Here's where the pain truly begins. Oh man, I have a lot to say about this level. Fuck it, I hate it. The platforms move way too fast, Crash feels like he's being dragged down during his jumps now, which makes the platforming even more impossible. If you die before the first checkpoint, you still get a nearly perfect, and mother of God, I just want to get on that fucking platform! Luckily, you can take multiple attempts at the bonus rounds now, and this time around, you will need to go through them to get all the boxes. But is that saying much, considering Slippery Climb only has a motherfucking Brio bonus round? We all remember how difficult that shit was back then, and this bullshit right here is why I lost my shit in a recording you guys didn't see because I went too far with my rage. No, I didn't break anything, but I screamed into the microphone. And get this, the first 2 times I tried this, I was 4 boxes away from completing it, and I was very close to the end. After that, I couldn't even get on the first fucking platform. Oh, and during all this, you can't die if you want the red gem. Why couldn't they put this gem at fucking Heavy Machinery or some shit? Because fuck you, that's why. We're Naughty Dog wannabes, and we don't give a flying fuck about your suffering in the first game. Oh my fucking god. Praise the Lord, everybody! I finally conquered Slippery Climb. Oh, holy fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Also, get used to Crash's jumps, because for levels like Road to Nowhere, this is the biggest step backwards, especially with the hitbox on the torches being so fucking big. You die even if you're 5 fucking feet above the flame. The 2 keys are also here. You get them the same way you originally did, by beating Cortex's bonus round. Great! After beating the first boss, we see that Crash's sister, Coco, who was introduced in the second game, used the Time Twister from Warped to travel back to 1996 and 97 to help her brother out on his adventure. While this is cool, I don't really much care for this feature. This was supposed to be the quote-unquote big reveal at E3 this year, but Big Mouth Leafy didn't know how to keep it shut long enough to be surprised by this. Time relics from the third game were also implemented into all 3 games. However, they're only required in Warped per the original. In the first and second games, they're just there to get more trophies, and to show off your best times in the level. Another feature I could really care less about. I will say, however, that I did manage to beat Square Eye Jack's best time on Toad Village, and Jack practiced way more than I did. What's cool though is that in the third game, the trophies are named after quotes from the old commercials, like "Booyah, Grandma, booyah!" and "Buckle up, baby, buckle up!" Now, let's look at the first game's bosses. Papu Papu is still easy, only now with 2 extra hit markers like the original Japanese version. Ripperoo took me a little while with getting used to the big TNTs being normal TNT countdowns this time. Koala Con I absolutely hate, just like the original. Pinstripe is the same as ever. Brio is still somewhat challenging.
I was in the first game!
And Cortex is still average. There's really nothing new here. I will say one thing though. I do like some of the designs for these levels. I've never seen any game go this far with the capabilities of the console's graphics purity since Mario Kart 8. And these levels look really fucking colorful. That, on the other hand, is a problem. For levels like Jaws of Darkness or Temple Ruins, this kind of ruins, no pun intended, the whole intimidation that the original had. Speaking of ruination, get it? The soundtrack wasn't really doing it for me. There were a lot of occasions, especially in the first game, where I honestly preferred the original to the remaster. Upstream, for one, is a little too loud in my opinion. The other problem I have with this game is that the load times are way too long. Instead of just loading what was in your field of view on the fly like the originals, here they load the entire level from start to finish. This means the load times can last almost as long as that of Crash Nitro Kart. This is a real problem, and in a lot of cases, especially when trying to get the colored gems, this will get annoying. Half of one of my segments was dedicated to the load times alone, and that is a fucking problem. At least the trophies are cool, right? Yes, like any other PS3 or PS4 game, you get trophies. One has you spin away an extra life, while another has you getting 99 lives, which is super easy to do in the first game. When you press R2, you can switch to Coco. She is fully playable in all three games, which means yes, like Wrath of Cortex, she is on foot. Only this time, she controls much better. There really is no control difference between her and Crash, so I guess it really depends on who you want to play as. However, vehicle levels and all but one boss will not allow you to play as Coco. That sucks. I wanted to see Coco ride that hog. Oh well. The overall presentation looked so much better than that of the trailers and PSX16. The first game did fairly well while it had the spotlight. There are certain things that obviously need to be fixed, like Crash's jumping, but if you took that away, this game would go down in history as one of the best Crash Bandicoot games ever. Other minor issues can be fixed as well. I know there will be a patch fixing certain glitches, but I encountered next to none during my playthrough, so I can't really say much in that regard. I also know about the Lost Treasures DLC, which will feature the levels Naughty Dog never released, and boy won't Stormy Ascent be something. My final rating for Crash Bandicoot and Sane Edition is 7 out of 10. You're copying Square-Eye Jack! Shut the fuck up! No, I'm not. I actually agree with him on the score. I even gave the original a 7, so stop that bullshit. Besides, the people you defend steal jokes from others too. Yeah, you fucking heard me. And some, like myself and Square-Eye Jack, have admitted this. Anyways, yes, Crash 1 on PS4 gets a 7. Reasons are obvious, especially from my slippery climb rant. Moving on.
It's Crash Bandicoot 2. Cortex Strikes Back.
That reminds me, you actually do get a pleasant introduction for the logo. However, this can't be skipped, so every time you perform a hard reset for the game, you will have to sit through that intro again, and every time hear Lex Lang go,
It's Crash Bandicoot.
At this point, if you really want to know the backstory, you can look it up. But you shouldn't need more than the game's title to know what's going on. There are a fair amount of problems like the first game that Vicarious Visions did not notice when they released the game on June 30th, 2017. Didn't think I'd mention the release date, did you? So, I'm gonna put another problem counter here for this particular game. Let's begin. Problem number 1, the jumping is still flawed. How could you possibly fuck up jumping in a platformer?
It makes no sense!
Problem number 2, the talking head messages suck. There's no flicker during the message, Cortex talks like a fucking sloth, and there's no static interruption between Cortex and Coco. It's really sad. Yes, you can still save whenever you want. Now, one thing this game does do right is show quick blimps on the screen to help the player out. See? It's that small attention to detail that gets overlooked in a lot of games. Problem number 3, the load times and screens are the same as the first. They say loading with the level name underneath, a very obvious hint on the bottom, and Aku Aku floating around and looking at you like he's about to do something.
You don't want to make me mad? I get angry when I'm mad!
The vehicles feel very different. The jetpack took me forever to adjust to in the original, and here it takes just as long, if not longer. Speaking of vehicles, problem number 4. The polar bear is really bad here. I'm not the first to say this. His hit marker is so small, some jumps are almost impossible, and he treats you like shit if you abuse him. He still, however, gives you lives if you jump on him repeatedly in the second warp room. That leads to problem number 5. The warp rooms do not look like they were remastered. In this case, like the soundtrack, I prefer the old warp rooms to the new ones. Some of the levels kinda lack in graphics enhancement too. What happened? Crash 1 looked fucking gorgeous, like I said, and suddenly this. Okay, the levels still look nice, especially the sewer ones, but they're not as eye-popping as the first game, or shit, even the original second game. Problem number 6. The Ruins levels still suck. I already stated in my Crash 2 review that I simply put hated them, and I still do to this very day. They will continue to be my least favorite levels in the game. A lot of exploits were noticed by Vicarious Visions and got tweaked. So that red gem you got during your Warp Room 1 run? Guess what? Get the actual secret entrance from Air Crash's secret exit, you fucking cheating dick. This also brings up problem number 7. Cold Hard Crash is fucking impossible. Not to mention, Vicarious Visions fucked up the ice physics just like Naughty Dog did. How is it that the shittiest Crash game managed to give us somewhat decent ice physics?
It makes no sense!
I have beaten Cold Hard Crash legitimately once, and I repeat, once. That was on the original, and I did this back in 2014. Now this shit I can't even do. And I have to do it because if I want to beat the game 100%, I need to do this. I hope you guys are ready to practice because you will definitely find yourself doing this. Problem number 8. The bosses are still too easy. Tiny and Ripperoo are the two easiest. Engine is above average, the Komodo brothers are actually easier than before, and Cortex is the same as ever. This is an issue. I know it's a remaster, but I was hoping that this would be fixed, but I guess not. And finally, problem number 9. I did not ask for relics. I want to know who actually wanted this to be a thing. Color-wise, the levels do look nice. However, some levels, like Piston It Away and Spaced Out, don't blend in very well with what Vicarious Visions was going for. Yes, at this point this is obvious, but did you know? During production of the first game, Crash Bandicoot was codenamed the Sonic's Ass Game, for reasons you should be able to figure out. Honestly, I don't know about Crash 2 on the PS4. There is a huge side of me that is preferring the original to the remaster in more ways than one. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who has had this feeling before. Oh, and you can unlock the running ability in the second game to go for those platinum relics. Overall, Crash Bandicoot 2 does look really colorful and gorgeous like the first, but I feel like Vicarious Visions should have added a little more oomph to the levels and graphics. They need to fix the jumping too. Good fucking God. My final rating for Crash Bandicoot 2 and Sane Edition is 6 out of 10. It's a shame because I gave the original an 8, so improvement is needed. Finally, let's go back to 1998 with
Crash Bandicoot.
My goodness. You okay, Mr. DiMaggio? Would you like some Gas X? Gameplay-wise, this is where I had the most fun. At this point, I got so used to the controls that Crash's heavy jumping was no longer a problem, especially with the power-ups coming into play, including everybody's favorite, the Super Body Slam. At least it's not the worst. The vehicles, with the exception of Coco's jet ski, felt much better here than in the original. In fact, I actually like the vehicles in the remaster. This is where Vicarious Visions really improved on what Naughty Dog kind of fell short to. It's obvious this trilogy is near and dear to their hearts. To quote Square Eyed Jack for a second, "Welcome to How to Make a Fucking Video Game 101. Step 1, do whatever the fucking fuck Naughty Dog does. Instant fucking success." I had more fun playing Warped than I ever did before, and I got so good at the game I was able to get 105% with every relic being at least gold. Some platinum relics I got without even trying, like Deep Trouble. Load times are still a pain in the dick hole though, but that's obvious. Now, I mentioned that I like this Aku Aku now compared to Titans. The way Greg Eagles voices Aku Aku in Warped is almost spot on with the original voice, Mel Winkler. When I close my eyes and listen to Titans Aku Aku, I don't picture him. I instead picture Grim. However, when I close my eyes and listen to this Aku Aku, I do picture my faithful witch doctor companion. This is a huge improvement. This is by far the best Aku Aku that Greg Eagles has ever done. It's a shame that he only gets to do the voice in the third game, because it would have been nice to hear what he would have sounded like in the first two games. I fucking love Dingodile's new voice. It fits him so perfectly, despite his boss fight being super fucking easy. Wait, wasn't he supposed to say something after I defeated him? This is the one and only time Vicarious Visions forgot to pay attention to detail, with the exception of Corey Burton voicing Entropy. The engine boss fight was a little more difficult, but I was still able to beat him within a few minutes. The airplane levels actually give a little blimp on the screen telling you your objective. Again, that small attention to detail that prevents new players from going, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Although, the heads-up display should probably give that away. Speaking of the HUD, it's the same as the originals. Press triangle and you can see your Wampa Fruit, the amount of boxes you broke out of the total boxes, and the number of lives you have. If you run out of lives, you get a game over and restart from your last load point. That is, of course, if you turned autosave off. That's a new feature. The game over screen is a black background with Uka Uka popping up and going Game over. Now, you will see this screen on all three games. However, in the first two games, he is slightly blacked out. I like this. I like this? Yeah, I kinda miss the originals, but this is a nice replacement. Oh, and here's something. In Road Crash, there's an alien sign that, once you hit it, takes you to a secret level called Hot Cocoa. Even a blue bird shows what to do in order to unlock that level. Again, attention to detail, something the Sane Trilogy paid and Wrath of Cortex did not. Eggipus Rex actually gave me a hard time in the remaster. The final boss is the same as the original, and the music actually sounds good. In fact, I actually prefer it to the original. And yes, you still need to get the relics. This time around, the relics were a little easier than before, and the times were a little more forgiving. And they were more fun. I like this. I like this. Yeah, I know what I said in my Crash 3 review. They are a death sentence. A one-way ticket to hell. It is the possible cause of a total damnation on this planet. But in the remaster, I actually had more fun doing the relics. Maybe it's because I enjoy using the vehicles. The levels I got Sapphire on, I actually got better at and got Gold, and in some cases Platinum. Like I said before, I was able to complete the game 105% without having to cheat. Huge improvement from the original. Overall, this game was definitely the icing on the cake for the Sane Trilogy. The characters really shined here, the gameplay was fantastic, the music was good, the awesome trophy names I mentioned earlier, and even the Easter egg of Aku Aku yelling at you for not getting the crystal is back. I never thought I'd say this, but Crash Bandicoot Warped, in this case, is better than Crash 2. And I know the second game is 251 GNR's favorite, but Warped may give you second thoughts, bro. Warped was absolutely amazing. Other than Hot Cocoa, I really had no problems during my 105% run. And the backtracking never felt better. Wait, did I just say that? I did. I'd even go as far as saying that the Warped formula works better on the PS4. And if Vicarious Visions developed the game, which they did. So you know what? Good on ya! I came into this not expecting a lot to impress me, but this game really swept the rug out of my feet and gave me something worth playing. However, there are 4 small bits that do bother me. The camera change in the motorcycle levels whenever I jump off a ramp, Area 51 in general, I fucking hated that in the original, I still do. The future levels don't have any flashing signs on the buildings, like what the fuck? And Uka Uka smirk in the opening FMV. I don't know, I can't see this Uka Uka doing that. It's like Mandy smiles, it just doesn't look right. Those are just a few nitpicks after what I just gushed over. In conclusion, I really love Warped on the PS4, and I easily prefer it to the original. There are just a few minor tweaks that need to be made though, but nothing that would stop me from beating the game. Slippery Climb, I'm looking directly at you. It's not perfect, it's actually far from, but Warped really impressed me with the graphics, the controls, and the bosses. My final rating for Crash Bandicoot and Sane Edition is 9 out of 10. That's right, for the first time in all of my reviews, a 9 has been given. Especially considering the fact that I gave the original a 7, I think it's safe to say that Vicarious Visions really went all out with Warped more than they did with Crash 2. And again, that is saying a lot, especially since I used to prefer Crash 2 to Warped. So, with all 3 scores combined, my final overall rating for the Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy is 7 out of 10. After 9 years, we finally got Crash Bandicoot back, and he did great. Thank you, Vicarious Visions, for not fucking this up and putting Crash Bandicoot in a bigger hole. And hey, even the silly 90s style commercials came back. How could you not like this? All the games, especially Warped, really improved thanks to the development of Vicarious Visions. Do you guys agree with me, or do you disagree? Let me know by commenting down below. Along with liking, favoriting, and subscribing to the channel, it definitely helps out. And by the by, Greg Eagles is starring in a web series that is being done by Billy and Mandy creator Maxwell Adams. It features most, if not all, of the Billy and Mandy voice cast and more. This includes Richard Stephen Horvitz, Gray Delisle, Vanessa Marshall, Phil Lamar, and many others. It's called Dead Meat. Maxwell is always updating Dead Meat on his Tumblr page, and you can go to maxwelladams.tumblr.com or follow the link in the description to check on the updates. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day. This has been John's Reviews.